So today we will be talking about Redux Persist. Redux Persist takes our Redux state object and saves it to the persistent storage. For example, if we store our Redux reducers using Redux Persist, it will not clear when we close our app. So we have that old data when we open the app again. Whenever we uninstall our app, at that time only the reducers will be clear. Let me explain it to you in a little bit of detail. So Redux simplifies state management in complex applications. As the Redux store contains our app's entire state, persisting it lets us save and restore the user's session. That is, we can store the information in our store in the local storage. Redux Persist is a popular library which lets us add persistence to the store. The library will automatically save the store each time the state updates. We do not need to write any persistence code in our actions or reducers. So now let us go ahead and install this library. So for that, we are going to the terminal and we are going to write npm install Redux Persist, and we are just going to hit enter, and after that we will have our library here. So now we are going to work on our project. So first of all, inside this store folder, I'm going to create a file named store.js. We will take a simple example today and we will try to understand all the details. So inside the store, I am going to create a file that is store.js. And here I am going to import create store, and I'm also going to import combine reducers. After this, we are going to import persist store and persist reducer. So persist store and next is persist reducer. Next we are going to import the storage. So import storage from the Redux Persist library storage. Lastly, we will import our Rootreducer. This we haven't created till now, so we'll just leave it here, and after that we'll mention the location. Now we are going to create a function. The function is named configure store, and it takes the argument of initial state initial state is assigned to an empty string, and now we will write our reducer inside this. So const reducer, this is assigned to the combined reducers, and inside combined reducers we will have auth, which is assigned to mock. So you can name these variables according to your own preference. You do not have to name them as I have named them, that is not compulsory. And the form is assigned to persist reducer. Next we are going to add some features inside our store, that is the key. So our key is assigned to the form. This key is for the local storage key. So this is the main key which will be used in the local storage. Next we have our storage. The debug is set to true. The blacklist is set to, we will talk about blacklist and whitelist in this video later on. I will explain it to you in detail. To 4, and lastly we have our Rootreducer in the argument 2. So Rootreducer. So after this we will create our const store. This will use the create store method. So create store, and it will take persist reducer as the argument. Earlier we used to pass other arguments, but here today we are going to pass the persist reducer as an argument. And again inside that we will give some of our arguments, like the key which is set to root here. Next the debug is set to true. So let's just copy it from here and then just paste it. The debug is set to true. And the storage is, it's the next argument. So again we'll copy that and we'll just paste that. Now instead of blacklist we will have our whitelist. Whitelist and blacklist both are a part of this video, so stay tuned and keep following this video. So this is set to auth. Auth is, you can see we have used auth here, so we are referring to that. And after that we will add 2 more arguments, that is the reducer, and after reducer we will add the initial state. I also created the initial state, so this initial state is being referenced here. Now we will add a console.log statement to see if things work fine. So console.log, and here we will pass initial state, and after initial state we want to pass the store.getState, so that we can know that what is the current situation, or what is the state presently, so that we can get the output like that. Now after the console.log statement we will add our persistor. So const persistor, and it is assigned to persist store. Persist store takes the argument of store. The next argument is null. Next the argument is an arrow function. This arrow function has we are going to do again a console.log statement to understand first. So this statement is to get the restored state. Whatever was the earlier state, that we will get here. Whatever we are saving, that we are going to get here. So we will do a console.log and we will write a restored state, and we will again call store.getState. And lastly we will return the state So return state, we are going to return the store, not state, and the persistor, not persist reducer, persistor. Now we will export default. The configure store, and store is ending with e, so we'll correct that here also. And now we'll save this file. So this was all about the store.js. Now we are going to create our component. So you can either include all this inside the main index.js file, that is this file, or you can create different components. So let us just create a component. This component will be named persist.js, and here we will write rfce. Okay, so inside the div, let's just clear that. And now we will create a class component. So for that, RCE. Now I'm going to import some files over here. Like I'm going to import the render from React DOM. So not the testing library, but the React DOM. Next I'm going to import the configure store. So import configure store that we have created right now from the store file, store.js. And I will also import provider and connect. You already know the provider and connect, so that we will add in the index.js file, and persist get also we will add in the index.js file. Now I want you to create a function. So this function is named update text. We are going to update our text according to the user inside our today's example. So inside update text we will have a return. This return has the type update, and it has the second argument, that is text. You can also add CSS styling if you want, but I will not be adding any CSS styling. Now inside the class component, I'm going to add on update text. This is taking an event E, and here it will have this dot props dot dispatch, and dispatch takes update text as an argument, and here E dot native event dot target dot value. So we are going to target the value inside this argument. Now inside the render and inside the return, we are going to add a few things. So I'll just remove this and add a component that is hello. We will create this component and we will assign the name to say JAS Academy. And we will render this component here. So we don't have this component right now, so let us go ahead and create that inside the components. This file will be named hello.js, and inside hello.js we are just going to have a 1 or 2 lines of code. So import React from React, and we are just going to export default a name. So name, and we will just pass that name into our arrow function, and it will just give me an h1 which returns a statement hello along with the name. So this is about the hello.js. Now we will go to persist.js and we will import our hello from there. So import hello from the components. So hello.js is here. Now let us move on. Okay, so inside an h2 we will write edit. So this is just an edit to write that if we want to edit or not. After this we are going to add an input tag. So this input has a value of this dot props dot text, and it has an on change. This on change is assigned to this dot update text. We are going to add this input tag, and we will have an output according to that. Whatever the user gives the input, we will get an output based on that. Now we are going to add a, you can also add a styling to this. So let us just go ahead and add a little bit of styling. So, or you can also skip this part. Let us keep it simple and we will just save this file. Now we will add our const map state to props. You have already seen that in our few previous videos. If not, then you can check them out. So we will add the map state to props, and it will take state, and it is going to return, and I need one more parenthesis. So inside that we will have text. This is assigned to this dot to, this is assigned to state dot text form dot text. we have created the form and we have a text in that, so it is going to display that. Next is our for. This is assigned to state.form.for. we have also created these two variables here, so we are just going to use that. And we will add our connect. So for that, so we'll add export default connect, and with connect we will have persist, and we will also have map state to props. So map state to props and persist. Now we will add our component inside the app.js and we will update it inside index.js. So this is named persist. We will import it. Now we will go to the index.js file. This index.js file, here we have to create a few things. So our const store is assigned to configure to the create store method. So we will change it and we will add const store and persistor. So along with store we will also have persistor. And this is assigned to configure store. So we already have the configure store imported at the top. And like we have the provider, instead of the provider we are also going to add persist gate. So for that we will add persist gate, and this persist gate will have persistor. This will be assigned to persistor. And then we will just close this tag after the app component. Lastly, we will have another component inside the store, that is our Rootreducer index.js. So I will just this index.js file has a const default state. This default state will have the initial values of all our arguments. So the first is text is set to initial. Next we have for, this is set to, bar is set to zoo, and nested is set to very deep, and this has true. So this is what we are going to display when the app is rendered. and then whenever the user changes it, then we will then it will change according to that. So export default function. This function takes state as an argument and which is set to default state. And next is our action. So this is our reducer. The action is an empty string. So now we will add the switch statement. This will take action.type as the argument. So the first case is update. Update is going to return a copy of the previous state. The text is going to be action.text. This is default state text, and then the foo is set to previous copy of state.foo, and the bar is set to action.text. And after the first case, we will have the default case. So default, we are going to just return the state. So now if we save all our files and if we see our output, then you can see that we are getting output of our h1, that is hello JASACADAMY, and we have the edit and we also have the input tag. Now if I show you the console, then you will be able to see whatever console.log statements we have added. So we'll just see we've added two console.log statements inside our components. So we will be able to see that two statements. I think it was in the app.js. No, it was. So inside the console you can see that we have the initial state. It has an object auth, the mock is true, and the form has a text initial and it has the foo. So these are all the things that we have inserted already inside our code, and it is of the type object. You can also see some Redux Persist statements are there, that is about auth, and these are some warnings that we are getting, but we will ignore that for right now. And the restored state has the object auth and the mock is true, the form of text is set to initial, and there are two things here, the foo and the persist. So let us see what is inside that. So inside foo we have again bar zoo, and the nested has something. It has a text initial, and persist has a version of -1 and rehydrate 2. So these are the two things that we wanted to see in the console, and we are getting the exact output. So this is just a basic understanding of Redux Persist. We will see this in detail later on, and we will try to understand blacklist and whitelist. We already have included that here, so we will talk about that today. So for the blacklist, you can see that we have foo inside our blacklist, and for the whitelist we have auth inside our whitelist. So in case of blacklist, foo will not be persisted. So here foo will not be persisted. Instead, except that we will have all other things persisted, that is all will be stored inside the local storage. This is the work of the blacklist. So whatever you want to insert in the blacklist, that will not be persisted. So you can see that in the first console.log statement, we do not have the first thing that we have included inside our. And for the whitelist, we have auth, that is only auth will be persisted. So that's the exact opposite of the blacklist. So here only auth is going to be persisted and the rest is not going to be persisted. Now you can see that we have got the console.log statement, but where is the storage actually? Where do I see where is my local storage? So for that we'll go to applications and you can see local storage here and you have a URL here. So here you will see a key. We have assigned the key, that is persist is of the form and persist has root, and the values are displayed here. The text is set to initial, the auth is set to mock and true. And here at the below you can see the text, the persist, the version, everything is being displayed here. So this is our place where we will see whatever is stored inside the local storage. So that's it for today. We'll see you in the next video.